Hi, and welcome back to 10 Minute Bible. We're taking a look at Luke's version of Jesus' life, and hopefully you've had a chance to look at some of the other videos. This is number 12, and so welcome. Thanks for joining in. My name is Michael Venema. So at the end of the last video, where we left it was with Jesus choosing the 12 closest disciples. They were to be his apprentices for the next 3 years, traveling with him, eating and sleeping together, commiserating, going through a lot of experiences, and these 12 would be exposed to Jesus' teachings consistently, and Jesus was preparing them for their role in continuing on with the mission once his role was finished. But that's moving ahead quite a bit. But anyway, the 12 are named there in the middle of Luke chapter 6, and you can read them there: Simon, Andrew, and James and John, and all the rest of them. Now, I think I left a little comment about those 12, saying that that number 12 apprentices, would hearken back to the beginnings of the people of God, the Jewish people, with the 12 sons, and then to become the 12 tribes or the 12 clans of Israel, the 12 sons of Jacob becoming the 12 tribes of Israel. So the beginnings of God's people. So when Jesus is naming 12 disciples, he is saying, in effect, I'm making a new beginning with and for the people of God. So very powerful symbol. Jesus loves to work with dramatic symbols and loves to act them out right before the eyes of the people and in their hearing. So that's the 12. And then we discover that Jesus comes down off the mountain. So I'm going to read a few lines and then make some comments, and I think I'll just keep on proceeding in that way. So again, I'm using a version of the Bible called The Message. Coming down off the mountain with them, with the 12, Jesus stood on a plain surrounded by the disciples, and was soon joined by a huge crowd, a huge congregation from all over Judea and Jerusalem, even from the seaside towns of Tyre and Sidon. So Luke recalls that people from all over the Jewish countryside and the towns came out to see Jesus, very popular, and even from the outlying towns, Tyre and Sidon, which was moving into non-Jewish territory. And Luke tends to bring to mind the non-Jewish listeners and followers of Jesus, because Luke wants to, the person he's writing for is non-Jewish, Theophilus. You meet him in the first lines of the book. So Luke is writing for a non-Jewish audience, and Luke's view is wider than some of the other writers of Jesus' life. Luke's view is towards all people, Jesus' mission towards all people. So the Jewish people definitely, and even people from the outlying areas where the non-Jewish people are living also. So it says they came to hear him and to be cured of their illnesses, and to have evil spirits evicted from their lives. Everyone was trying to touch Jesus, so there's a sense that there's sort of power radiating from him all the time in terms of teaching, and real power to heal people physically. The way that this version has it, so much energy surging from him, so many people healed. And then Jesus speaks. So just before I say anything about what Jesus says, a little bit of background, because these words, I think, are easy to misunderstand or easy to elevate to some very high principle, which is not a bad idea. We'll get to that, but we first have to deal with the concrete reality of the day for Jesus and his listeners. So these are tense times. The religious leadership of the Jewish people is well known for being quite cozy with the Roman occupiers who are hated. So there's some controversy about whether this cozy relationship is altogether appropriate. Now, in the past, in Jewish history, Jewish faith in the Old Testament, the pre-Jesus parts of the Bible, there are accounts of the Jewish faith leadership, the Jewish religious leadership, becoming cozy with the other foreign powers around them to try and find a way forward. But the Jewish prophets would then rise up and say, no, you are courting destruction. Do not hitch your wagon to these evil powers. In the end, they will only betray you, and there will also be something of God's judgment mixed up in the whole thing, because God does not want his people to be following the leadership and the false gods and so forth, and the wrong-headed and evil practices that were very common where they lived at the time. So that's some of the background, that some of this had happened in the past, where the Jewish leadership had gotten very comfortable with some of their corrupt neighbors and the political leadership. So these were political questions, political dynamics happening all the time. So now this is then happening also in Jesus' day with the Romans and the Jewish leadership being comfortable with them. So this is where Jesus says, well, maybe I should say one more thing, and that is that it is Jesus' intention to distance himself from all that and to summon the Jewish people to a correct leadership, the leadership that he is providing and renewing for the Jewish people. And Jesus is going to lay it out in the sense that he is working with the understanding that if the people continue on becoming comfortable or being comfortable with their Roman political powers all around them, that this will bring disaster on the people. So here's what he says now. He says, you're blessed when you've lost it all. God's kingdom is there for the finding. You're blessed when you are ravenously hungry. Then you're ready for the messianic meal. You're blessed when the tears flow freely. Joy comes with the morning. And the sense here is that if you follow Jesus, there's going to be trouble ahead, because the religious political establishment will try to do Jesus in. Well, they will succeed. And there will be trouble also for the followers of Jesus. So he says, he kind of, Jesus does not sugarcoat the pathway with him. He says, some of you are going to lose it all. You may lose your family fortune. You may lose your lives. You may have times of hunger. There may be great times of great sorrow. But he says, hang in there. You are blessed because God's kingdom nevertheless is there, and you are on the right path with the Messiah, and there will be a morning, and it will be a morning of joy. So hang on to that for a minute, because the next paragraph, I think, lays it out even a bit more clearly for us. Jesus says, count yourself blessed every time someone cuts you down or throws you out, every time someone smears or blackens your name in order to discredit me. So Jesus is saying that there are going to be times when people will look down on you because you're walking with me. Don't worry about it. It means that the truth has gotten a bit too close. I'm kind of paraphrasing the paraphrase, the version I've got here, but the truth is too close for comfort, and the person is uncomfortable. You can be glad when that happens. Skip like a lamb, if you like. For even though they don't like it, that they don't like, that Jesus' enemies don't like that his friends are his friends, even though they don't like it, I do, and all heaven applauds. And know that you're in good company. My preachers and witnesses have always been treated like this. And in some of the Bible translations it says, this is how they treated the righteous prophets of old. So in the Old Testament, in the pre-Jesus parts of the Bible, those prophets who warned about those cozy political relationships with pagan and evil powers, they were right. And Jesus says, if you're treated poorly, just remember that you're being treated in the same way that those righteous prophets were treated. You're in good company. So now Jesus also then he's in this first part, then he has given some encouragement and comfort to his followers, not sugarcoating it, letting them know that they may be in for a rough ride, but nevertheless, that heaven is on their side. So is Jesus. The righteous prophets in the past had the same kinds of experiences, so you may too, but it's okay. You're on the right track, so stay with it. Now, on the other side of it, Jesus has some words for the people who want to stay cozy with the evil empire, so to speak. He says, it's trouble ahead if you think you've got it made. You know, you've developed that relationship with bad powers. What you have is all you'll ever get. You know, so you may have it nice for a while, but that's short-lived, and that's all you're going to get. And there's trouble ahead if you're satisfied with yourself. So if you're the kind of person who wants to play cozy with those evil powers and people, there is trouble ahead if you're satisfied with all that. And there's trouble ahead if you think life is full of games and just chasing the luxuries and the good times that will be had by being friends with the powers that you shouldn't be friends with. There's trouble ahead when you live for the approval of those other kinds of people, saying what flatters them, doing what indulges them. You know, this is what those religious leaders of the Jewish people were doing with the Roman rulers. They were finding ways to say flattering things to them, you know, to smooth the path with them. And she says, no, that is not the path. And then in the version I've got, it says, popularity contests are not truth contests. Wow, popularity contests are not truth contests. That's interesting. And a few other things. So now, if you know a little bit about what happened in the few decades right after Jesus was active, the Romans attacked Jerusalem. They massacred many of the Jewish people. Was Jesus foreseeing that exact thing? I don't know. Possible. But I think that Jesus was hearkening back to the stories in the Old Testament, where again there were those stories of the Jewish people who had made their peace with corrupted political powers, and the results were disastrous for the people. The nation of Babylon, overrunning the Jewish people, dragging them into exile, killing many of the people, and also some of God's judgment mixed in with all of this. And I think that for Jesus, whether or not he knew what was going to come around the year 60 to 66, the Roman war against the Jewish people, whether he foresaw this exact same thing, I'm not sure, but I think he was looking back and seeing that the same pattern was happening again, and Jesus is summoning the people away from the edge of destruction and wanting to bring the people back to a true faith and truly living as God's people. He's there to renew the people of Israel. So there's a lot going on here, and it maybe is gotten a bit more tense and complicated than you were thinking, but there it is. We'll continue on next time we chat. Thanks so much for joining in, and be well, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.